If everyone could finish their conversations and take a seat, please. And call the school board meeting to order. Okay. All right, so then just call to order, and then roll call, please. Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Curt.
Here.
Ms. Khan.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Ms. Nolan.
Here.
Ms. Schwartz.
Here.
Ms. Thomas.
Here.
President Owens.
All right. I'd like to request everyone stand as they are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our first, with Dr. Johnson, accent on achievement.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. Our first accent on achievement is for American Education Week. We actually have two, so we'll do these together, but then we'll try to navigate the order that we're going to make presentations this evening. So in recognition of American Education Week, November 17th through the 21st, 2025, a proclamation of appreciation is presented to the Elgin Teachers Association, ETA. ETA President Scott Sternal is in attendance to accept the proclamation of appreciation. So Scott, if you want to come forward. And then Board Member Kerr is going to read the proclamation.
Okay, this is a proclamation of appreciation for American Education Week. Whereas the teachers who work in public education make a difference every day in the lives of students who come from all backgrounds, abilities, and incomes. And whereas the contribution of these dedicated individuals are recognized as part of American Education Week, November 17th through the 21st, 2025. And whereas school district U-46 teachers are trusted, respected professionals who prepare our students for success in life and who help build school communities where all students feel they belong. And whereas school district U-46 employs more than 2,300 teachers, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes its teachers as part of American Education Week, November 17th through 21st, 2025, and asks administrators, students, parents, and the community to join in recognizing and thanking these individuals for their dedication, efforts, and service on behalf of children and youth. Presented this 7th day of November, 2025, signed by Board President Melissa Owens and Superintendent Dr. Suzanne Johnson. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the recognition. And I just want to say I value the relationships and the collaboration we've done together. We got a lot of work still to do for all of our students, all of our teachers, but I think we're on the right path to doing that work. So thank you again for the recognition.
All right, continuing then, in recognition of National Education Support Professionals Day, November 19th, 2025, annually falling on the Wednesday of American Education Week, a proclamation of appreciation will also be presented to the following representatives. So I'm going to read the organization and the name, and if you would then come forward, and then at that point, Ms. Board Member Martin will read the proclamation for everyone as well. So to begin, for our Service Employees International Union, SEIU, we have Diane Gosinski, our food service lead. It's a little bit of a maze now. Representing District U-46 Transportation Union, Heather Weiss. Representing District U-46 Secretarial Association, Nancy Rodriguez. Representing our Education Support Service Organization, Beth Lucarelli. And now here's our big question, because I see it's Sarah. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sarah. I was like, I don't see the person who I had, but I see lots of do-ya reps. So representing our District U-46 Educational Assistants, Sarah Moeller. I thought I read that. Beth is gone. Oh, I was like, there they are. Okay. We were making sure we had everyone. Okay, Board Member Martin.
Okay, so I'm going to read our proclamation, and then each of you will get one of them. So, Proclamation of Appreciation, Education Support Professionals Day. Whereas, education support professionals include secretaries, paraprofessionals, food service workers, operations staff, custodians, bus drivers, and assistants serve students on a daily basis in many capacities that contribute to the quality of education, and whereas the contributions of these talented and dedicated individuals are recognized as part of Education Support Professionals Day, November 19th, 2025, and whereas School District U-46 employs more than 2,818 support staff, and whereas School District U-46 support staff members work to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes its talented education support staff in honor of Education Support Professionals Day and asks administrators, students, parents, and the community to join in recognizing and thanking these individuals for their dedication, efforts, and service on behalf of children and youth. Presented this 17th day of November, 2025, signed by the Board of Education President, Melissa Owens, and our Superintendent, Dr. Suzanne Johnson.
All right, thank you so much on behalf of Region 63, all of the ESP locals. We truly appreciate being recognized. Thank you.
Thank you from SCIU, Chief Stewart here. Food service thanks you also, and let's have a good year.
Okay, next up is Strategic Plan Report, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. Our first this evening is a facility planning update. Brian Lindholm, Chief of Staff, and Dr. Ann Williams, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, will present to the Board of Education an update on facility planning.
Good evening, and thank you for another opportunity to provide the Board of Education with an update on our facilities work. As soon as we get up the right presentation. Tonight's presentation covers several projects and really demonstrates the amount of work currently underway to update our facilities across the district. To start, we will provide the monthly updates on our projects currently under construction, starting with our middle schools. We'll start with Kimball. On Monday, November 3rd, the Elgin Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the development application that would allow departures from the standard zoning ordinance for our new monument sign and outdoor refuse collection enclosure. The monument sign would replace the current one along McLean Boulevard and would be larger than what is allowed under city ordinance for a street with 35 to 40 miles per hour speed limit. However, the new sign will match the monument signs that were recently approved for Legacy Middle School and Hilltop Elementary. The sign would include an electronic message center as well as the required landscaping surrounding the sign, and the masonry base will match the building. The new refuse collection area will be an open-air enclosure surrounded by 8-foot masonry walls and gates located on the eastern side of the building and will replace the current one, which is located in the area where the new outdoor courtyard is being constructed. It will be located adjacent to the new cafeteria and kitchen where most of the waste is generated. The variance we are requesting is to allow the collector area to face what is considered a street yard to the east of the property facing Melrose Avenue. The Planning and Zoning Commission was very supportive of our plans, and they passed the recommendation on to the City Council, and we expect the matter to be in front of the full City Council on Wednesday, December 3rd. Now here we have some updated pictures from just last week, and so we'll start with the picture on the left. It is a stairwell addition that will significantly improve the circulation throughout the building, and as you can see, the glass enclosures are being installed, which will bring in natural light and create a strong visual connection between the learning spaces. This vertical circulation core not only improves accessibility and student flow, but also gives Kimball a refreshed contemporary identity on that side of the building. The middle images show progress in the interior classroom spaces. At the top, we're looking at a new art classroom with plenty of room for storage. You can see the natural light from the glass block windows and the extensive built-in storage that will support the materials and student projects. The upgraded casework and durable finishes are designed for long-term use while maintaining a bright, modern environment that supports creativity and hands-on learning. The image in the middle bottom shows one of the renovated science rooms. Again, new casework, counter space, and shelving providing flexibility for both lab and group activities. The improved ventilation and updated electrical and data infrastructure will allow these rooms to accommodate a wider range of STEM instruction and technology integration. And then last but certainly not least is the image on the right. It shows a newly constructed stairwell in the current building that was recently completed and released for use. The stairwell is located just across the hall from the prior administrative office and will eventually lead to a corridor connecting to the addition. I know the students and staff at Kimball are very happy about this access and this bright new space. So the last part that we will show you at Kimball is a recent drone video that captures the full scope of the work that is underway. You will see how the new addition integrates with the existing structure, the masonry work that's underway, and the scale of the overall site improvements. This footage provides a great overview of how the interior transformations we just saw connect to the larger building modernization effort. So with that, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Now we will touch on Kenyon Woods Middle School. As you can see from this aerial image, the addition is taking shape very nicely, and work continues with largely zero disruption to instruction or operations at the school. We sincerely appreciate the planning and careful attention to detail shown by our architectural and construction management teams. And as the weather is starting to turn colder, progress on the addition interior is actually heating up. Completion of the building envelope paired with the activation of our permanent heating systems allows for crews to continue steady progress with mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work, classroom ceiling grid, and restroom wall tile, all in a warm and dry working environment. Final exterior building elements like the rooftop mechanical screens and entrance canopy details will be completed before Thanksgiving. Painting of corridors and classrooms is ongoing and will continue in the coming weeks. The permanent heating will allow for flooring and casework installations to begin in December and continue into the new year. So overall for this project, it remains on schedule, if not a little ahead of schedule, and we are confident that the addition will be ready to welcome students next August. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian to talk about Legacy Middle School and the remaining projects that we have for you today.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you, Dr. Williams. So construction at Legacy Middle School continues to make great progress, and doesn't it feel good to now actually have a name for the school also? So as we mentioned, the teams here have generally taken advantage of the favorable weather and have made up ground for a slightly delayed start as we work to obtain the necessary permits from the City of Elgin. We're now very confident heading into the winter months that we're in good shape to keep this project on schedule. Recent milestones include the installation of the storm trap and the completion of the building foundation. As you can see from the image shown here, the current work includes structural steel and decking for the 3-story classroom wing, as well as load-bearing masonry walls. We're also working to complete the backfill of the storm trap so that a parking lot can be laid over the top before the asphalt plants close for the winter. So to give you a perspective for the massive amount of work that's happening on this site every day, our construction team here also captured a recent drone video that we'll play for you. Three-story classroom wing. This will be the gymnasium. This is the cafetorium. They're filling over the storm trap where the parking lot will go. Okay. So our next update is for Century Oaks Elementary in Elgin, which is the last, most recent project that has kicked off. So as a reminder, Century Oaks was built nearly 50 years ago in the 1970s under an open concept design with a media center in the middle surrounded by connected classrooms. In most cases, students need to walk through a classroom to get to another, which presents safety, security, and learning challenges. In addition, the infrastructure systems in these buildings were not constructed to meet the learning and technology needs of students today. So for these reasons, Century Oaks is one of the buildings that the Unite U-46 recommendations in late 2022 prioritized updating or replacing as part of our facilities master plan. So on November 3rd, at the last meeting, the Board of Education approved the construction bids that were recommended to complete the work to do significant renovations and an addition to Century Oaks. Last week, we received a site permit from the City of Elgin, allowing us to start the work, and with this approval, our construction teams have already started some of the preliminary site work required before the winter weather hits. So recently, we met with the staff at Century Oaks to make sure they knew what to expect in the coming days and for the rest of this school year as construction will start occurring on their site. So the first image here shows the impact to the southern part of the property, including where the current building sits. Last week, we saw a start of work on the site, including the excavation for the temporary parking lot, which is marked in the hashed yellow at the bottom left of the screen. And we anticipate that this will be paved even later this week. So this was really the first major piece of work. It's an important first step to provide alternate parking area for staff prior to losing access to their second parking lot to the north, which will be consumed as part of the construction site. On the Monday after Thanksgiving break, December 1st, the bus drop-off and parent pickup will move to the southern lot, as is marked by the yellow rectangles and then also the small blue dashed lines in that main parking lot. Parent drop-off will occur along the outer curb, and then the buses will park along the inner curb so that they'll be able to do curbside drop-off for students. Principal Cheryl Fredrickson has started communicating these upcoming changes to her families, and we're working to create bilingual signage right now to help direct traffic on the site. We're also planning to have additional staff out to help support in the immediate days. And then the next diagram shows the impact to the northern half of the property, which is where much of the activity will happen this school year. The red outline indicates where the construction fencing is being placed. The purple area shows where the new addition will be located. The hatched orange area shows where the geothermal wells will be drilled. And then the teal area shows where the new underground stormwater detention area will be dug. You can also see where the new staff parking and bus drop-off area will eventually be located to the far north off of Century Oaks Drive. This work is all scheduled to be completed prior to school starting next August. In the top right corner in darker blue, you can see where we plan to place a large mobile classroom complex with six classrooms and student restrooms. The students will have access to the existing building through the addition, and please know that a majority of the construction area to the north will be recaptured as green space when the work is completed, and that new trees will be planted to help replace those that will need to come down as part of the construction effort. We have scheduled a groundbreaking ceremony on December 2nd, and we'll be sharing more details this week. And we realize this will be a complex project, managing construction while keeping students and staff on site, but we're confident that we've developed a phasing plan that will will minimize disruptions to instruction and keep our students and staff safe. We're also working to keep the enrollment down at Century Oaks next year by not hosting pre-K or other specialized student services programs to minimize the number of classrooms that will be needed. So our final update this evening is not a project that's funded from Unite U-46 or our referendum bonds, but an important one to highlight nonetheless. As we previously shared, we are working to build a new athletic complex at Larkin High School. Plan calls for a turf field with surrounding track, seating for over 2,000 spectators, an adjacent building with locker room, concessions and restrooms, an outdoor picnic area, as well as updated lighting, sound system, and scoreboard. So a few recent milestones on the project include, on November 7th, we held a mandatory pre-bid construction meeting, and over 40 contractors showed up, which shows a high level of interest and excitement for the project. We're working now to schedule a groundbreaking for late January, early February, and then construction to start shortly after, which we're estimating would be mid-February, with work completed then to start next school year. So as we've shared, Larkin High School has long been the only U-46 high school without a stadium. So we're so excited to bring this well-deserved opportunity to our students and the Larkin High School community. I've got a short video here to show you on this one as well. Kind of fires you up, right? Like ready for some Friday night football here. So that concludes our update for this month. Next month, we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the projects that were not covered this evening, including Glenbrook, Illinois Park, and the new elementary school in Elgin. But we would be prepared for any questions at this time.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Sue?
Just on slide 12, Century Oaks, I assume we've worked out a plan so the kids of the mobiles get around all the construction that might be going on at that time?
Yes, I'm trying to work my
We
way back.
absolutely have a plan for that, yes.
I figured you did.
Yep, that's 12.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So what I should have explained more here is all of this work is happening between now and the start of school next year. So all of this would be completed
Okay,
by
it's all
next
gonna be done.
August.
Okay.
And then that allows the team to then move in and do the renovation to the
Okay,
existing space.
okay. I had
So yeah,
visions
so
of
this is
all
a
this
construction
going on at the
area
same-
until
yeah.
August, and then when kids come back,
It'll be done.
this basically will be recaptured as green space. The new addition will be ready, and so those kids in the mobile will have, they'll be surrounded by grass and then with direct access to the building through the addition.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. Anything else? Don?
Thank you for the update. With this many construction projects going on, the updates are greatly appreciated. Kimball, how are we looking on the Kimball schedule? That is one of our more complex renovation projects, and I know it has been a little more intrusive on our school, so I'm hoping we have good updates on how the schedule is coming along for that facility.
We are tracking that schedule very closely, but we anticipate opening on time and being ready. We do believe that the heaviest lift is behind us with that first, when did we start? Spring break? Through last summer, we believe that was the tightest crunch, but we are actively watching, and we don't anticipate any issues being ready.
They're looking at being fully enclosed. It was like January, I think?
Oh, being under roof?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think the only thing I would add is the way the phasing works, there will have to be a lot of work being done in that building next summer, because there was a lot of work that we had to wait to do until after staff and students leave. So they'll be coming
Right.
back in. We will need every bit of the longer summer next year to
Right.
finish this one. Whereas some of the other projects, we're not having to work around active
Yeah.
construction to the same extent.
But the good news is we anticipate that Kenyon Woods will be done earlier in the summer so that all of our focus can move towards Kimball. But we are looking at that every week. I ask, are we on time? Are we on time? Are we on time? So, yeah,
Perfect, thank
we're
you.
watching it very closely.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, I guess there's a Gallup employee engagement survey results?
Absolutely. We have a second strategic plan report, and that is also going to be presented by Brian Lindholm, Chief of Staff, who will present the Gallup Employee Engagement Survey results to the Board of Education.
Okay, so good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share the high-level results from our annual U-46 Voice Employee Engagement Survey that we administer with our partners from Gallup. This is our fourth year using this survey instrument, and it came after the Board of Education asked Superintendent Sanders to develop a more comprehensive way to measure employee engagement, as it was one of the pillars in our previous strategic plan. So this past summer, our executive cabinet team spent some good time with Gallup exploring the connections and the overlap between our strategic plan, our new strategic plan, I should say, and the questions that are asked in our annual employee engagement survey. There is strong correlation between particularly Goal 2, safety, sense of belonging, and inclusion, and many of the questions. But there are also connections to some of our other goals, including Goals 1 and 3, around early academic and social emotional foundations and academic growth and mastery. So we treat these survey results as very important indicators of how engaged our staff feels to the mission and vision of U-46. And we have data that shows that engaged leaders lead to engaged teams, and that engaged teachers produce better student outcomes. So this is meaningful data that we take very seriously. This first slide includes a few top-level results to highlight from our latest survey. First, on the left-hand side, the overall response rate this year was 55%, which is the highest that we've seen at U-46. And it was an even more impressive jump from last year's 44% because we invited more staff to complete the survey. So the net result is that we heard from almost 1,000 more staff members than we did last year. The mean comparison on the top right is the composite score across all of the questions in our survey. The Gallup team has reminded us that any change larger than 0.1 is statistically significant. So we should feel good about our composite score being up by 0.14 this year. And then the bottom two dials show where our composite score places us among other K-12 districts and other global clients using Gallup's survey. As you can see, we are now approximately at the midpoint on each of these measures, which is a huge jump from where we started 3 years ago. One of the high-level metrics that Gallup's engagement reports following the survey is to assign each respondent as either engaged, not engaged, or actively disengaged based on how they responded to all of the questions in the survey. Engaged employees are highly involved, committed to the organization's success, and generally willing to go above and beyond. Not engaged employees are usually less committed and attached to their work or their organization. They're sometimes even only willing to do what's required to keep their job and stay out of trouble. Then actively disengaged people are not only unhappy, but they're even resentful because they feel their needs aren't being met. So with that context on how employees are categorized, the engagement ratio is an interesting way to interpret our results. This year, our ratio of engaged to actively disengaged was 3.7 to 1, which is up significantly from last year and previous years. In fact, in 2022, when we gave the survey for the first time, our ratio was 1 to 1, which was very eye-opening to all of us. This next slide, I know, includes a lot of numbers on the chart. These are the responses to each of the 12 questions. And the main takeaway is that our scores were higher this year than last year on each of the questions included in their standard Q12 survey instrument. In fact, 10 of the 12 that are shown in bold in the mean change column are up by a statistically significant amount of 0.1 or more from last year. And then a similar story here on the 4 additional questions that they consider the Q12 plus that we've added to the survey this year and last year. Again, they were all up by at least 0.1. So in terms of next steps, the Gallup team will be here this week, actually tomorrow, meeting with Executive Cabinet and with the Executive Directors to review our results in more detail. Tonight was sort of a preview for the Board of Education in terms of what we will see. As we review the data, they have consistently reminded us it's important to be very open and receptive to these results and not to get reactive or defensive, to be intentional about asking questions and really listening to the feedback that we're receiving from our staff members. It's also important to continue building trust and credibility in this process by demonstrating to our staff that we are taking tangible steps to address the feedback that we're receiving on how we can improve overall engagement levels. So that will be our work starting this week as we dive deeper into the latest results that we're previewing for you here this evening. And that concludes the presentation. Are there any questions at this time?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Questions? Anyone? Sue?
So a lot of what happens at the school level, and I imagine we're seeing a great variation between schools with responses on this. How is Gallup going out to any of the schools that may be having more difficulties, or are they training our executive directors to help work with the schools?
Yeah, it would be the latter, yeah. So they, this year, they actually are developing scorecards for each of our leaders, including our school principals, to sort of assess their results and to identify items that, based on what they see, those leaders should be sort of focusing on in their state of the team conversations. They're also going to be spending time with the executive directors to kind of coach them on when they meet with their school leaders, these are the types of questions they should be asking based on the results that they're seeing for each school.
Okay, thank you. And one more quick question. On slide 3, even though we've gone up in our response rate, we're still below the average for K-12 and in general. Do they have any suggestions on how we can increase our response rate?
Yeah, we have a lot of suggestions. We've tried a lot of things as well. I think some of the challenge are our large number of staff members who don't really use their U-46 email very often. So we've tried to get very creative about posters with QR codes and making it very easy to take from your mobile device, where all you would need is just your sort of staff ID to access the survey versus a unique private link that's sent to email that we know people sometimes may not be getting. So I think that's part of it. I also do still think there's some trust and credibility issues that we need to work through with some of our employees, where I've had discussions with lots of people who they want reassurance that no one is actually seeing their individual responses. Okay. And as I try to explain to them, well, that's why we're working with Gallup, is because it is completely anonymous and confidential. Nobody in U-46 has access to any of the individual data. I still think it's something that we're working through, at least with some of our staff.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody over here? Don?
So kind of following up on Ms. Kerr's question, as far as, we talked about breaking it out by looking at different schools. Do we get enough results that we can look at different departments within our schools? Like, whether it's paraprofessionals or specialized student services, are we able to see the satisfaction within the different types of departments?
You hit on, it all depends on the number of employees that fall in that particular group, because
Okay.
if it's less than 5, they're not going to provide those results to
Okay.
that small of a team, because they feel like at that point then it would not be as anonymous or confidential. But yeah, as long as there's a significant sample size, we can sort of cut the data lots of different ways, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Shauna?
Thank you for the presentation. For slide 6, you had mentioned that we saw an increase in each of the areas. Do you have an idea of what caused that increase? So I know we're not exactly where we need to be, but an increase is good. And is there any idea of how, why those areas increased over the last year or the last few years? And is that something that we can keep repeating?
I think
to
there's
continue to
kind of
increase
a
it more.
number of things. I could maybe give you one example. When we gave this survey last year, question number 2, which is like, I have the materials I need to do my job or something. I can't remember the exact wording. But at that point, we were having a lot of issues getting materials delivered from our distribution center at the start of the school year. And there were a lot of schools that were starting when they were still waiting on curriculum, they were waiting on instructional materials. And we've done a lot of things to try to really address that. I think Dr. Johnson's done a great job of, in some of her weekly messages, tying some of the resources that we've added, some of the process changes that we've implemented to address things that we directly heard from the survey. So I'd say that would be one great example. I think the Johnson on the Job series that we do, I think that shows that people see that we want to really understand what they do on a daily basis and what we could do to help make their job easier and make them more successful in their job. So I think even things like that, I think, are having an impact.
Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? Dorothy? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then we're moving on to the public hearing for the tax levy. All right. Okay. So the hearing is open by simple declaration of the board president. I hereby declare the meeting the hearing open. And then we do public comments? Right? Do I have to read this? Okay. As required by the Truth in Taxation Act, a public hearing must be held by the public body when the proposed levy exceeds 105% of the previous year's actual extension. As required by the Act, notice of the public hearing was published in local newspapers in each of the 3 counties of our district. While the proposed levy does not exceed 105%, a hearing is being held in the interest of transparency. Dr. Ann Williams, Dr. Kyle von Schnese, Deputy Superintendents of Operations, and Robin Corneliuson, Executive Director of Financial Services, will review the proposed tax levies and will be available for questions.
All right, well, good evening. Dr. Johnson, board members, and also our community of U-46. So tonight we will review the district's financial outlook, our compliance obligations under Illinois law, and how this levy supports the larger Unite U-46 vision. Every school district in Illinois is required to adopt a levy each year. It is how we request our share of local property taxes to fund instruction and operations. For U-46, it's not about raising new dollars for taxes, but it's about providing quality instruction, providing reliable transportation to and from school, and ensuring classrooms are staffed and that buildings are safe. So in short, the levy is how we protect the district's stability and ensure students continue to get a high-quality education each and every day. So this slide represents our formal calendar required by PTEL and Truth in Taxation statutes. The hearing tonight satisfies the public notice requirements, and maintaining this timeline ensures compliance and prevents any interruptions of revenue flow to the district. The 2025 tax levy occurs against a backdrop of fiscal instability. The federal shutdown delayed reimbursements and heightened local funding importance. Inflation has cooled compared to years prior, but costs remain elevated for utilities, transportation, and insurance. Cook County's delays did add some concerns to cash flow timing. These realities reinforce the district's prudent decisions to maintain a steady, legally compliant levy. So what's the difference between a levy and an extension? A tax levy is a district's request for revenue from taxpayers. To calculate it, we use an estimated equalized assessed value, or EAV. And the tax extension is the actual revenue the district will receive. So using the levy and the PTEL formula, along with new property, the county clerks calculate the final amount of property tax revenue. It's important to note that the district will not receive more revenue than it requested and will not receive more revenue than the PTEL allows. So this chart compares the tax levy and the amount requested by board. So to the tax exemption, which is the amount the county clerk authorizes for collections. Please note that this does not include bond and interest funds. So the blue bars represent the levy is what we asked for, and the yellow bars shows the extension of what we would actually receive. Both have steadily increased due to higher CPI, growth of EAV, and also new property. So the small gap between the levy and the extension in recent years reflects the application of PTEL limits. Overall, the trends show consistent alignment between what the district requests and what the district is allowed to collect. So please allow me to turn this presentation over to Robin Corneliuson, our Director of Financial Services.
Thank you, Dr. Kyle. Each levy season includes both fixed and fluid elements. The Consumer Price Index and the prior year extension are known. However, the EAV and the exemptions remain uncertain until counties finalize the assessments in the springtime. The district, therefore, levies slightly higher to ensure full capture under PTEL. Without this approach, the district risks losing allowable revenue permanently due to the timing differences among the 3 counties. This snapshot summarizes state statutes that govern our levy process. Together, they protect taxpayers, guarantee transparency, and verify that the district levies only what it's legally entitled to receive. These statutes form the backbone of our financial integrity and public accountability. The Miller ratio was established by the 1969 Supreme Court case of Central Illinois Public Service Company versus Miller, which helps to ensure that the district's available funds in the particular fund are not too high compared to its average annual expenditures. The ratio is calculated based on our total cash reserves, our balances based at the end of the fiscal year divided by the average annual expenditures for the past 3 fiscal years. As you can see in the illustration, the district has met the statutory limit, and for the FY26 budget, the operations maintenance budget has an estimated fund balance reduction of $24.6 million to lower the ratio in future years. With the legal framework in place, let's look at our local property changes that affect our levy base. A TIF, or tax increment financing district, is an area a city designates to encourage redevelopment. When the TIF is created, the property value inside that boundary is frozen, and any growth in value, which is called the increment, goes to the city for projects within that district. During that time, school districts and other taxing bodies only receive taxes on the frozen base value. When the TIF expires, or when the specific parcels are released, the new property value is added back to the regular tax base as new property in the levy process calculation. For U-46, that means it's an increase in EAV, which helps strengthen our overall levy without changing our tax rate. This chart shows the current TIF districts that impact U-46 and their total values by county. Each bar represents the value of property when the TIF was created, shown in blue, and the increase or the increment in value shown in yellow. The increments shown in yellow are current values provided by the municipality. TIF districts divert the growth in property tax revenue to support redevelopment projects within those boundaries, which means that the school district does not receive the full tax benefit from that growth until the TIF expires. Overall, these TIFs represent areas of economic development within our district boundaries, but also temporarily restrict a portion of revenue that would otherwise support school operations and the ability to capture new property value until the TIF concludes. TIF expirations and local property growth tie directly to how the evidence-based funding formula measures equity. Evidence-based funding recognizes that districts below 100% adequacy rely more heavily on local revenue. U-46 currently operates at 76% of adequacy, meaning property taxes provide critical support. The levy provides and protects our core services while the state continues its path towards full funding. Linking levy decisions to equity helps the public understand how each dollar sustains student opportunity. This chart shows the estimated revenue composition for FY26. It breaks down the sources of district funding into local, state, and federal contributions. Local revenue being 54%, which is primarily funded by property taxes. State revenue being 42%, primarily driven by evidence-based funding and categorical reimbursements, and federal funds representing 4% of our total revenue. This chart shows the CPI trend over the past decade. CPI reflects the rate of inflation and directly affects the allowable increase under PTEL. Our new revenue is limited to the CPI of 2.9% plus new construction. Overall, this trend highlights the volatility districts have faced in recent years and reinforces the importance of maintaining steady levy practices to preserve financial stability amid changing economic conditions. This slide shows the district's total tax extensions for the past 5 years. The trend consistently mirrors CPI growth and new property additions, confirming that U-46 remains compliant with PTEL limitations. Showing this history provides transparency for taxpayers and reinforces our long-term fiscal stability. The gradual slope also highlights that our debt service levy has remained steady despite significant facility investments. This chart shows how the district's total EAV has changed over the past decade. EAV represents 1/3 of the property's market value and serves as the base used to calculate local property tax revenue. This upward trend is positive for the district as it expands the local tax base and supports the ability to maintain programs and services while minimizing the impact on individual taxpayers. This slide illustrates how the 2025 tax levy, based on the highest allowable tax extension rate of 4.99%. So this is based on the highest allowable they will provide at 4.99, how that could impact an average homeowner in Cook, Kane, and DuPage counties, using a $250,000 fair market value home as an example. In addition, please note the estimated change shown here represents only the U-46 portion of the overall property tax bill. Homeowners also pay taxes to several other local taxing bodies, such as municipalities, park districts, and townships. A few important details: Cook County assesses homes at 10%, while Kane and DuPage assess at 33.3%. There's also exemptions such as homestead exemptions. Cook County provides a $10,000 exemption, where Kane and DuPage are at $8,000. Overall, the estimated change in the U-46 portion of the tax bill ranges from about $155 to $205, depending on the county. These are only estimates and will vary by home based on actual assessed value, exemptions, and market conditions. The key takeaway is that even under the full 4.99% levy, the homeowner impact remains relatively modest while supporting stable funding for district operations. I will now turn it over to Dr. Williams to discuss how the levy impacts our long-term planning.
Thank you, Robin. The annual levy funds our strategic plan goals day to day. Teachers, aides, transportation, mental health supports, classroom materials, and the like. This is how fiscal stewardship directly impacts our strategic plan in classrooms across the district. On this slide, we summarize the final tranche of referendum bonds that will be issued in early 2026, as well as the 2026 working cash bonds. It shows again that we will be able to issue these bonds without impacting the existing debt service rate, and that these bonds will continue to support our strategic plan primarily through Goal 2, which relates to safe and modern learning environments. On this slide, we go into additional detail as it relates to the 2026 working cash bonds to be issued. These bonds will fund modernization and safety projects, including secure entrances at multiple sites, science labs, and updated learning spaces. Our competitive AA+ bond rating will allow us to issue these bonds through a competitive sale, which will cost a little bit less than prior bond issues have cost, since our bond rating has improved. And again, no tax increase as a result of the issuance of these bonds. As we look ahead, we have the capacity to issue possibly another $44 million in bonds in 2028, again, without raising the tax rate. And this forward planning lets us phase construction efficiently and maintain steady investments in our school facilities without impacting taxpayer dollars. That brings both pieces together, our operations and our capital plans, working hand in hand within the tax rate we already possess. This slide shows how our operating and capital plans fit together. Again, the levy funds our day-to-day operations, and the bond issuances fund our facility improvements. So together, they ensure that we are stable today and we are providing modernization for tomorrow. And ultimately, the levy isn't just about numbers, it's about students. And this year, stability allows us to maintain our reasonable class sizes, to reintroduce elementary specials, and to staff the middle school transition that we are all looking forward to. The same levy dollars also fund transportation, technology, and safety infrastructure that directly impact daily learning. Framing the levy around student outcomes helps the public connect fiscal decisions to educational results. And so with that frame in mind, I'm going to turn it back to Robin so she can go over the details of this year's tax levy.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Williams. This chart illustrates how the district's total EAV is distributed among the 3 counties that make up U-46. Kane County at 39%, Cook at 37%, and DuPage at 24%. The balance across counties highlights the complexity of U-46's tax base and the importance of maintaining consistent communication with all 3 county assessors and clerks throughout the levy and extension process. The 2025 estimated tax levy has been prepared according to the Illinois School Code, PTEL, and Public Act 94-0976. These laws govern how much a school district can request and receive each year. Because the board must adopt the levy in December, months before counties release final property values next spring, the district must estimate slightly higher than what we will ultimately receive. This ensures we capture every dollar we're legally entitled to once final assessments are certified. Counties automatically reduce our levy to match PTEL limits, so U-46 never collects more than the law allows. Now let's look at the actual 2025 estimate and how these numbers break down by fund. This table shows the full 2025 levy by fund. The education fund at about $259 million accounts for nearly 2/3 of the total levy and directly supports classroom instruction and teacher programs. The remainder covers essential operations such as maintenance, transportation, special ed, and legally required funds like IMRF, Social Security, and tort. The total levy for all funds is $402.6 million, with $370.1 million in cap funds subject to PTEL limits and $32.5 million in debt service that remain flat. Even though we are requesting a 4.99% increase, the district will receive no more than 2.9% more revenue than existing taxpayers, plus the value of new construction projected at $58 million. So here's what the numbers mean in real terms. Although the district requests a 4.99% increase, state law caps what we can actually receive at the CPI limit of 2.9% plus the value of new construction added to the tax roll. With roughly $58 million in new property value expected, the levy request is $402.6 million, with the projected 2025 extension to be about $365.4 million. With this year's estimate finalized, we can now look ahead at what could influence next year's levy. The district is pleased with the recent resolution of both the federal shutdown and the Cook County tax rate information. As we look ahead in the coming months, the administration will continue to monitor the factors that influence our budget and tax levy process to ensure continual financial stability and sustainability. Decisions made at the state and federal level continue to impact school districts throughout Illinois, and we remain attentive to any changes that may affect our financial planning. Every level cycle carries risks. Economic conditions can shift quickly, Cook County tax collections can strain cash flow, and new statutory requirements can introduce additional obligations. We address these through scenario planning and rigorous internal controls. Each assumption is carefully stress tested so that the board and the public can have confidence in the district's financial stability. As we conclude, I want to highlight 4 key points. First, this levy is fully compliant, meaning every state requirement from PTEL and Truth in Taxation to the Miller ratio test that keeps our cash reserves within an acceptable range. Second, it reflects responsible stewardship. Operations remain stable, our debt service rate remains flat, and we continue to protect the district's strong AA+ bond rating. Third, the levy is strategic and student-centered, directly funding the goals in our new strategic plan and advancing Unite U-46's commitment to safe and modern facilities. Finally, with several TIFs expiring in the coming years and new construction expanding the tax base, we're well positioned for sustainable growth through 2028 and beyond. Together, these factors show that U-46's financial health is sound, our planning is forward-looking, and our focus remains squarely on students and community trust. That concludes the formal overview. I'll close with a brief note on our commitment to transparency and then open up with questions. This slide summarizes the district's 2025 tax levy request and the expected outcome under state tax cap limitations. The district plans to request a 4.99% increase in the total levy to capture allowable revenue growth under PTEL. However, after applying the CPI limit of 2.9% and excluding new property, the actual increase the district expects to receive is approximately $12.8 million, or about 3.65%. It's important to note that the counties adjust or reduce the requested levy amount to ensure it remains within legal limits. This means the district will receive less than what is requested, but still capture the maximum amount permitted under law. This process helps maintain revenue stability to support district operations while staying in compliance with state tax regulations. Accountability is ongoing through the processes we maintain. Our financial records are audited annually, and the results are made available to the community. Every decision, from our levy to long-term bond issuances, are guided by our commitment to equity, transparency, and responsible stewardship of financial and public funds. By openly sharing information and clearly communicating our financial decisions, we reinforce the trust that families, taxpayers, and our community place in the district. This concludes the 2025 tax levy presentation, and we welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Any questions? Sue?
So I know you answered a lot of my questions at the Finance Committee meeting. One other question that comes to mind is when you were doing the estimate of how the impact would be on each taxpayer, you were using the levy. But looking at slide 28, the bond and interest looks like it's going to be $4 million less the coming year than it was last year. So that would perhaps reduce the increase?
Actually, I will address that, and Robin can correct me if I'm wrong, but the levy amounts that are here are what's actually owed today.
Okay.
But we're issuing bonds, and those bonds will be applied to bring that back up to the level that
So
we were
it'll be about
actually.
36 million. Then. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Don?
So this is, so on slide 4, the levy timeline, it says 2024 at the top and 2025. Should that be, we are doing the work in 25 with the tax rates being released in the spring of 26 because it's a year in the rears? Because I feel like the years at the top of this timeline are incorrect, possibly?
So
Yes, it's a typo. It should be 2025 should be over the green bars, 2026 should be over the gray bar.
Can we get that corrected when we post it, just so no
Absolutely.
community confusion?
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for that.
Any other questions? Okay, and then I would also just want to remind the public that we did have a finance committee meeting today at 6 o'clock, where they went a little more in depth in this presentation, and we had a few more questions. So it should be available for people to watch within the next couple days, the same as this meeting, if people have additional questions.
Absolutely. There is one question that did come up at the finance meeting, though, that I would like to address, if
Please.
possible. When we go to the slide that shows the estimated value for homeowners, you may recall that we are requesting 4.99% to account for the factors that we don't know in this process, one of which being Cook County, which that data tends to come after DuPage and Kane County. So we're requesting 4.9%, 4.99%. That is what the estimates are. So that means that this estimate is high. This will not be what will actually go to taxpayers, because that will be reduced, likely to the 3.65% that we expect to get. So these estimates are high, but we wanted to provide some sample of what that could potentially look like. Again, it will take into consideration each individual property's value. If you've had your bathrooms updated in your house, there may be an additional assessment associated with that. If you've added a basement or finished your basement or added an addition, your property value will vary based on those factors. So we can't guarantee what the increase is. This is a very high estimate of what you might see. Any questions about that piece? Thank you.
Okay. Any questions to follow up? Okay, excellent, thank you. And then now it looks like we have comments from the public, specifically though on the tax levy.
And we have no comments from
Okay,
the public.
no comments, great. All right, so then we will close the public hearing by a simple declaration. So I hereby declare it closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then now we have comments from the audience in a broader sense.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. And there are no comments from the audience in the broader sense this evening.
Okay, thank you. Okay, other business, board member and superintendent update. Anybody over there? Anybody over here? Okay, well, I just have one comment that I want to make. I was very privileged a couple weeks ago to be able to go to Dundee-Crown High School for the ILMEA, which is the Illinois Music Educators Association. They had their whole day where they invited a significant amount of students from all 5 high schools in the district. There was a choir concert, there was a band concert, and there was an orchestra concert. And it was very impressive to look around and see all of our students from all of our high schools represented with some amazing music. So once again, U-46 does an excellent job on that fine arts. Anything else, Dr. Johnson?
I do not have anything else this evening.
Okay. All right, next up is FOIA requests.
This evening, we have 9 Freedom of Information Act requests available on the public domain of board docs that will also be moved to the U-46 website later this week.
Questions? Okay. Next up then is the Finance Committee meeting overview. Am I reading that right? Which I guess we just did, right, via the tax levy presentation?
Well, there's another opportunity, so we can
Okay.
welcome Dr. Ann Williams and Dr. Kyle Von Schnese, Deputy Superintendents of Operations, and Robin Cornelison, Executive Director of Financial Services, to discuss with the Board of Education the Finance Committee meeting held prior to the regularly scheduled board meeting this evening.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. If it is the pleasure of the board, I can highlight the main components of the tax levy, as well as the brief discussion that we had regarding the bond issuance.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, great. The majority of the Finance Committee meeting discussed the 2025 tax levy with an anticipated increase of 2.9%, aligned with the Consumer Price Index. The district will request more than they anticipate receiving, as we have done for years, to ensure we account for the unknown factors within that process. We discussed all of the compliance pieces, as well as provided homeowner estimates. In addition to that, the committee discussed the 2026 bond issuance and the Unite U-46 capital plan, with plans to hold a public hearing at the December 15th meeting, with bond issuances occurring in January and February. Those were the highlights of the meeting.
Excellent. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up is consent agenda. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. This evening on consent agenda, we have personnel report and workers' compensation cases, minutes of board meeting, September 8th, 2025, resolution for the disposal of surplus personal property books, proposal information services analog replacement, proposal plant operations Kimball Middle School unit ventilator purchase, proposal plant operations district-wide access control migration to Genetech Security Center, bid plant operations data center dry fire suppression system HVAC and generator project number 335-25, bid plant operations snow removal services rebid regions 1 and 3, contract plant operations joint purchase agreement for rock salt, contract Office of Schools graduation ceremonies at the Now Arena, contract specialized student services occupational therapy services, change order plant operations Bartlett Elgin Larkin South Elgin and Streamwood High School's backstop replacement project number 2072-25, change order plant operations Ronald D. O'Neill Elementary School parking lot paving project number 140625, change order plant operations Larkin High School roof replacement project number 274-25, building permit 1, Educational Services Center data center fire suppression project number 335-25.
Are there any items on the consent agenda members would like to remove? Dawn.
Item J, contract Office of Schools graduation ceremonies at the Now Arena.
Okay, do we have to vote to remove it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So does that count as making a motion? Do I need okay, do I need a second then? A second? Did I do that right?
Do we need a second?
No.
No, just remove the consent agenda.
It's just removed. Oh, okay, so roll call, please.
So the motion is to have the consent agenda for items A through O, excepting item J.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Kerr?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and then
A motion for item J.
okay. Can I have a motion for item J?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion, right? Okay, any discussion? Don?
So I'm going to start by saying I am voting yes on the contract. However, I just wanted to address it briefly and like items similar to this contract that may come forward in the future. So this contract, I'm trying to pull up the exact information, addresses graduation for the 26-27 school year, which we know is starting late, so obviously graduation needs to be later than normal. And then we are also doing graduation for the 27-28 school year after Memorial Day. And from what I can tell between a board inquiry I had done previously and a memo we had received, it kind of looks like we are looking to move school year calendar again. Meaning like we're starting late for 26-27, may or may not move back to where it was previously. I'm fine with that discussion, I'm fine talking about that. My concern with contracts like this is that we're voting on a graduation date for 2028 when we haven't discussed and voted on a school calendar for that year and what the moving of the calendar is going to look like for that year and moving forward. We know that changing the school years is always a big deal in the community. So I'm going to approve this, but I needed to go on record saying that approving dates for calendars that we haven't discussed yet is a frustration for me, and I find that very concerning.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right, so then roll call?
Ms. Kerr?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, so next then, we're at discussion action. Dr. Johnson.
Our first item this evening, itemized bills for November 17th, 2025. Robin Cornelison, Executive Director of Financial Services, will respond to questions from the Board of Education regarding the attached bills. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the list of bills in the amount of $36,066,972.93.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Oh, motion? We have to vote. I'm so sorry. We have to vote. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Kerr?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Sorry, I don't do this every time. Okay, and so then next, go ahead, Dr. Johnson?
Our next item is a resolution declaring the intention to issue $32 million in working cash fund bonds of School District Number 46, Kane, Cook, and DuPage Counties, Illinois, for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund and directing that notice of such intention be published in the manner provided by law. Dr. Ann Williams and Dr. Kyle Von Schnese, Deputy Superintendents of Operations, will be available to respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education adopt the resolution declaring the intention to issue $32 million working cash fund bonds of School District Number 46, Kane, Cook, and DuPage Counties, Illinois, for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund and directing that notice of such intention to be published in the manner provided by law.
Thank you. Do you have something that you'd like to say before we offer time for questions?
I'd just like to say that this is, approval of this resolution tonight is the first important step in the process. And if the board does approve of this resolution, public notice will be issued on Wednesday.
Thank you. Someone ask for a motion? Okay, may I have a motion to approve such resolution?
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please. Oh, any discussion? Sorry. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Kerr?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. All right, next.
Next is the order calling a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education of School District Number 46, Kane, Cook, and DuPage Counties, Illinois, to sell $32 million working cash fund bonds. Dr. Ann Williams and Dr. Kyle Von Schnese remain to present or to be available to respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education adopt the order calling a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education of School District Number 46, Kane, Cook, and DuPage Counties, Illinois, to sell $32 million working cash fund bonds.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to say?
Yes, this order calls for a public hearing on December 15th at 7 p.m. At that time, no bonds will be sold and no action will be taken. This step is strictly part of our required transparency in the bond issuance process.
Thank you. Then ask for a motion. Can I have a motion approving this resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Kerr?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to other business, Dr. Johnson.
Our first item is the September financial report. Robin Cornelison, Executive Director of Financial Services, will review the attached financial reports and respond to questions from the Board of Education.
Well, hello. Good evening, members of the board and Board of Education, and Dr. Johnson. I will be presenting key highlights from the September 2025 monthly financials. Please note that these statements are unaudited. We are concluding that, and that will be coming shortly. meaning that they reflect our internal accounting records as of September 30th prior to our audit adjustments in relation to both revenue and expenditures. This is standard for this time of year as the annual external audit process is now concluding. Please note that the financials now include the FY26 adopted budget. The September highlights include September ended with a surplus of $55.2 million attributable to the property tax payments received by Kane and DuPage County, while the year-to-date actuals through September did reflect a $19.6 million deficit. The unaudited fund balance now stands at $856 million, with a 331-day cash on hand balance. The district can operate for approximately 11 months without additional revenue, exceeding common benchmarks for financial stability. The combined cash and investments total $886.2 million, further reinforcing liquidity. As of the last business day in September, the state of Illinois owed the district just over $3.4 million for various state grants. September revenues totaled approximately $129.7 million, bringing our year-to-date revenue, excluding financing sources, to $178.9 million. This represents 18.01% of our annual non-financing revenue budget. The year-over-year comparison reflects a difference of $64.1 million in local revenue, which includes the property tax revenue delay from Cook County and $8.7 million in federal funding due to ESSER funding that we had in FY25, but we do not have in this year. Cook County has issued the property tax bills, and all property tax payments are anticipated to be received prior to the end of December. Revenues received in July and August for June services will be accrued and reallocated to FY25 during the annual audit process. September expenditures totaled approximately $74.5 million, bringing the year-to-date spending to $198.5 million, or 20.61% of our budget. Paid expenditures, again in July and August, will be accrued back and allocated to FY25. When compared to the prior September year-to-date total actuals, the variance of $68.4 million is largely contributed to the Unite U-46 capital expenditures. Some key points to identify are the capital outlay expenditures related to building, construction, and facility improvements for Unite U-46 and our district capital projects. Since these activities primarily take place during the summer months, the actual expenditures tend to run higher than the budget during this time. Purchase services include technical services included in our Unite U-46 projects. For construction projects, that typically encompasses architectural and engineering fees. In Fund 60, you will see that the expenditures should be classified as capital outlay so that they can properly reported as a part of the capital asset for depreciation purposes. Accordingly, in September, tech services were reclassified to total capital outlay, which resulted in a negative object total as displayed as shown on page number 1. Electricity supply costs have increased $1.2 million over September of 2024. Salaries and benefits represent our largest expenditure category, totaling $101.1 million, which is 17.9% of our budgeted amount, and capital outlay for construction projects through September total $29.6 million. For liquidity, as of September 30th, the district held cash and money market balances for $453.7 million, $432.5 million in investments, and $886.2 in total liquid assets. In conclusion, the September 2025 financials reflect a district that remains on solid financial footing despite timing-related challenges such as Cook County property tax delay. With property tax bills now issued and payments anticipated by the end of December, revenue stability is expected to normalize. Year-to-date revenues and expenditures continue to align with expectations for this point in the fiscal year. And while capital spending is elevated due to ongoing United U-46 projects, these investments are consistent with planned construction. Overall, these indicators demonstrate that U-46 is well positioned to meet our financial commitments. I appreciate your time this evening and welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our next item is the secondary schools financial report for the first quarter. Robin Cornelison will again review the attached secondary schools quarterly financial report and respond to questions from the Board of Education.
So this report analyzes activity within middle and high school activities from July through September. These funds support extracurricular activities such as clubs, organizations, and athletics, serving educational, recreational, and cultural processes or purposes. The beginning of the academic year and fall sports seasons generate significant activity within these funds. Middle schools experience an overall increase of $48,000 in total fund balances. Revenue generation was primarily driven by athletic fees, while expenditures were largely attributed to orchestra and student council events. High school activity funds saw a $376,000 increase during this period. Revenue was generated through parking permits and athletic activities, while expenditures were primarily related to athletics and homecoming events. The combined beginning balance for these funds was $2.9 million, with the quarterly net change of $424,000 for an ending balance of $3.3 million. Please note that student activity funds will transition to monthly versus quarterly reporting starting with the October monthly financial statements presented in December. All funds will be reported, including a statement of receipts, disbursements, and current balances summarized by schools along with the highlights.
Thank you. Any questions? Sue?
So not so much a question on this report, but we have 2 middle schools that will be closing at the end of this year. What happens to their funds?
So all student activities, we're just talking about that as well. So we will be meeting with those schools. So even for our elementary schools as well, is we will make sure that we allocate those. We'll work with our staff to find out how those students are allocated out to those other students, take those funds and allocate those out appropriately to the schools in which they will serve.
Okay,
So
thank you.
those funds will follow those students.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we have work sessions, tax levy.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. Dr. Ann Williams and Dr. Kyle Von Schnese, Deputy Superintendents of Operations, and Robin Cornelison, Executive Director of Financial Services, will review the estimate of the 2025 tax levy and respond to questions from the Board of Education. The proposed 2025 tax levy will be recommended to the Board of Education for adoption during the regular board meeting on Monday, December 15th, 2025. The tax levy must be filed with county clerks by the last Tuesday in December. The township assessors determine property values. The county clerks set the tax rates associated with property values. In order for the district to receive the maximum tax extensions, levy amounts must be estimated higher to account for the unknown factors in the process. Since the equalized assessed valuation, EAV, of property and new construction numbers are unknown at the time the levy is submitted, it is a common practice to establish a defensive levy. Regardless of the amount levied, the county clerks will reduce levies as needed to ensure all taxing bodies comply with the property tax extension limitation law. For tax year 2025, the district is entitled to an increase of 2.9% over the previous year for existing property.
Thank you. Anything you wanted to add?
The only thing I'd like to add is that the estimated levy presented to the Board of Education last month was unchanged. That is the same levy that was presented this evening as required by law. The levy was estimated at least 20 days or well above 20 days before the recommendation to adopt, which will come next month.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have the truth in taxation.
Yes, so our team continues to be at the ready to review the Truth in Taxation Certificate and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends adoption of the Truth in Taxation Certificate.
Thank you. Anything to add?
No.
Okay. Great. And then next we have the certificate of tax levy.
Yes, once again, our team is here to present the Certificate of Tax Levy and respond to questions from the Board of Education. The attached certificate is the final draft of the levy amounts that will be filed with the county clerks. The certificate must be filed by the last Tuesday in December. Administration recommends the Board of Education adopt the Certificate of Tax Levy.
Thank you. Anything to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. And then the last one, resolution.
Yes, our team again, still here to review the resolution authorizing the adoption of the Certificate of Tax Levy and respond to questions from the Board of Education. The Certificate of Tax Levy and the resolution authorizing the adoption of the Certificate of Tax Levy are being presented, and adoption will be requested on December 15th, 2025. Administration recommends adoption of the proposed levy resolution.
Thank you. Anything to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Comments? Concerns? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And that moves us on to work session, bids and proposals.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas. Our first item is bid operations Unite U-46 Century Oaks Elementary School Electrical. Dr. Ann Williams, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, and Brian Lindholm, Chief of Staff, will present the attached proposal summary and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends award to the lowest responsible bidder, Associated Electrical Contractors Incorporated, in the total amount of $3,543,000 and requests authorization for district administration to execute related documents. This expenditure will be charged to the Capital Projects Fund. The cost is included in the budget for the 2025-2026 through 2026-2027 fiscal years.
Thank you. Anything to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next is a bid, Operations Unite U-46 Glenbrook Elementary School Electrical. Again, our team is here to present the attached proposal summary and will respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends award to the lowest responsible bidder, Associated Electrical Contractors Incorporated, in the total amount of $2,753,300 and requests authorization for district administration to execute related documents. This expenditure will be charged to the Capital Projects Fund. The cost is included in the budget for the 2026 through 2027 fiscal years.
Thank you. Anything to add?
No, ma'am.
Questions? Okay. Next one.
Next is a bid, Operations Unite U-46 Illinois Park Elementary School. Our team again is here to present the attached proposal summary and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends award to the lowest responsible bidders regarding the bid packages listed below in the total amount of $12,399,356.27 and requests authorization for district administration to execute related documents. I'm going to read each bid package into record. Bid package 1, landscaping, Twin Oaks Landscaping Incorporated, $583,000. Bid package 2, excavation and site work, Kellenberger Incorporated, $1,031,000. Bid package 3, building concrete, Concrete by Wagner Incorporated, $230,183. Bid package 4, masonry, MPZ Masonry and Construction, $746,900. Bid package 5, steel, McKinney Steel and Sales Incorporated, WBBM Joint Venture, DBA Metal, or did I screwed that up? Let me go back. Bid package 5, steel, McKinney Steel and Sales Incorporated, $577,079. Bid package 6, roofing, WBBM Joint Venture, DBA Metal Master Roof Master, $358,282. Bid package 7, general trades, RB Construction Incorporated, $1,440,000. Bid package 8, glass and glazing, IG Commercial Incorporated, $176,900. Bid package 9, painting, Cosgrove Construction Incorporated, $67,325. Bid package 10, flooring and ceramic tile, Pinnacle Flooring Company Incorporated, $138,900. Bid package 11, kitchen equipment, Stafford Smith Incorporated, $195,532.27. Bid package 12, fire protection, CL Doucette Incorporated, $199,200. Bid package 13, plumbing, Hartwig Mechanical LLC, $281,380. Bid package 14, HVAC, F.E. Moran Incorporated, $2,992,995. Bid package 15, electrical, Peters Electric and Technology Incorporated, $2,998,680. Bid package 16, asphalt paving, Chadwick Contracting Company, $382,000. This expenditure will be charged to the Capital Projects Fund. The cost is included in the budget for the 2025 through 2026. This cost is included in the budget for the 2025, 2026 through 2026, 2027 fiscal years.
Thank you. Anything to add?
Yes, ma'am. An invitation to bid was released on September 24th, and we received 90 bids across those 16 packages, which reflects strong market participation and support of the district. Our construction management partners at ICI conducted post-bid scope reviews to confirm the contractor's understanding, compliance, and schedule alignment. As a result of that, 6 bidders withdrew from the process, and for the purposes of the meeting minutes, we need to state those names.
Okay.
That is Midwest Masonry, Northern Glass and Glazing, MS Sebastian Painting, Trimark Marlin LLC, DeKalb Mechanical, and Sentinel Technologies. They were all withdrawn due to documented scope omissions. Be happy to address any other questions that you have regarding this item.
Any questions? Don?
About that specifically or the whole proposal?
The whole proposal?
So our budget was 10 million.
Yes, ma'am.
We are at 12 million. I read the why, totally understand the why. So our overall budget for our work is approximately 380 million when we're
Yes,
looking at
ma'am.
U-46 Unite. Are we thinking that we can claw this 2 million back via savings just through all the other work we have ongoing? Do we anticipate we'll have to make changes to other items?
We do not anticipate that we'll have to make changes. We did come in under budget on some projects and
Okay.
over on others. So I am in the process of reconciling all of that now.
Okay.
In addition, our Assistant Superintendent of Operations will be assisting with some of the maintenance aspects of the projects that have come up. As an example, at Kimball, we are replacing all of the unit ventilators at Kimball. That will be paid for out of the operations and maintenance budget,
Okay.
even though it will be timed with the construction of the Unite U-46 project at Kimball.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our last one?
Yes, our last item, proposal, plant operations, Kimball Middle School emergency chiller repairs. Ashley McKinney, Assistant Director of Plant Operations, and Josh Bew, Coordinator of Maintenance Operations, will present the attached proposal summary and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends approval of the proposal from Mr. Mechanical in the amount of $55,486,000 and requests authorization for district administration to execute related documents. This expenditure will be charged to the Operations Fund. The cost is included in the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Thank you. Do you have something you wanted to say? Good. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next move on to work sessions, contracts over 35,000.
We have a contract for specialized student services, contract for related service staff. Amanda Leatherby, Director of Specialized Student Services, and Melissa Robeson, Assistant Director of Specialized Student Services, will present the attached proposal and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends approval of the contracts with the prior board-approved agencies not to exceed the approval total amount in the board proposal presented on September 22nd, 2025, and requests that funds projected to be spent with Stepping Stones SSG Healthcare be re-delegated to Sage Connections as follows. The Stepping Stones Group LLC, $638,884. Sage Connections, $179,876. This expenditure will be charged to the Education Fund. The cost is included in the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, and next we have work session change orders.
Our first is a change order, Plant Operations, Streamwood High School Pathways Phase 2, Automotive, Culinary, and Engineering Renovation, Project Number 321. Sheila Downs, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, and Jolene Linneman, Capital Project Coordinator, will present the attached change order and will respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from Northwest Contractors Incorporated in the amount of minus $373,987.89.
Thank you. Questions? Okay, next.
Next is a change order, Plant Operations, Heritage Elementary School Electrical Switchboard Replacement and Emergency Generator Installation, Project Number 879. Again, our team is here to present the attached change order and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from Newcastle Electric Incorporated in the amount of minus $50,000.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, next.
Okay, another change order, Plant Operations, Lords Park Elementary School Emergency Generator Installation, Project Number 1153. The team is here to present the attached change order and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from Newcastle Electric in the amount of minus $40,572.88.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, last one.
Finally, change order, Plant Operations, Horizon Elementary School Electrical Switchboard Replacement and Emergency Generator Installation, Project Number 980. Our team is here to present the attached change order and respond to questions from the Board of Education. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from Newcastle Electric Incorporated in the amount of minus $48,089.36.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Don?
I just want to say thank you for bringing forward 4 proposals that saved us $500,000. Based on my earlier conversation, I greatly appreciate that, so thank you.
We work hard to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. And so then that moves us to adjournment.
Yes.
Yep. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Kirk?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 8:43 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.